Hello students, welcome to the second part of the chapter The Midnight Visitor from Footprints Without Feet, the supplementary for Standard 10th. You all must have understood from the first part how the story started, the chapter's introduction, the author's introduction. Now let's proceed with the remaining part of the story and reach to the climax quickly because it's a very interesting story, and also discuss the question answers in this part.
So it's somebody is actually pointing the gun at you. Your mind will stop working, your gestures, you will be shaky, shivering, your lips will be quivering, you will be in tremor, you'll be nervous, you'll break down. So all such things will happen. Now, can you see our smarty, our Ausible is so smart and so witty that he is cooking up stories at this point. Now, in such a commanding gesture, he pulled the gun towards these two men. Soon he heard a knock at the door. Those three men, they heard a knock at the door. Ausible cooked up another story at once immediately. This is the another twist in the story. He told very clearly to Max that it should be the police. Very confidently he said, very profoundly in front of those two men, that is Fowler and Max. He had a very important paper with him, so he needed some extra protection. The police has come to keep a check on him and those papers to make sure that everything was all right. Now Fowler jumped aside. Due to fear. You remember he was an amateur author, he was an amateur writer who was actually practicing all those things. So he just came to take Ausible's interview. Now he was actually getting sandwiched between all these things. He has nothing to do with all these things. And poor fellow got stuck between a man who is actually pointing a gun and the other man who is constantly making up, saying some or the other thing. So now Max was a bit nervous. It was clearly showing. So Ausible threatened Max that the police would enter soon as the door was just slided. It was not properly locked. That was another clue point. They would also hesitate. The policemen, if they enter the room, they will not waste a single second. Simply shoot Max because he was actually holding a gun against them. So now somebody was becoming nervous, Max was becoming nervous, and he asked Ausible to send the police away or he would not hesitate to shoot. First he's going to kill Ausible and then he is going to kill Fowler. The knocking at the door became louder, that became more prominent. In the meantime, when Max was asking Ausible to please ask the police to go away, now Max kept his body a little twisted and pointed. Now when you bend back, when your footwork and your waist and the above part of your body is actually twisting left or right, how you look like. So Max kept his body twisted and pointing his gun at Ausible and Fowler. He put another leg over the window sill. Now he actually flung out his leg outside the windowsill in desperation. He was desperate enough because see, outside there is police. The moment the policemen will see him, they will immediately shoot him, right? Or they might actually catch him, imprison him. So he, in desperation, he jumped out of the window. Simply jumped out of the window. As he dropped, there was a loud scream at once, which was shrill. It was a shrilly scream. The door opened and a waiter stood there with a tray and a bottle and two glasses. Just imagine he cooked up such a story because of which this man, Max, a cunning man who jumped out of the window thinking that there was a balcony exactly below the window, which was not there. And at the door, when Ausible cooked up the story, he said that there was police. But who was there actually? There was a waiter who was standing there with a tray, a bottle of wine and two glasses. So it was actually Henry who came there because Ausible had already ordered him some wine. So Fowler was still white-faced, he became pale. He became totally pale because for that amateur writer, he was unable to synchronize his brain with so many things happening in front of his eyes. So he was standing there pale-faced or white-faced. He asked about the man who jumped out from the balcony. What happened to him? He screamed. We heard some shrilling voice. Then what? Ossible assured Fowler that Max would not return ever, as there was no balcony below the window. So it was all in his mind or in his story. So you can understand what might have happened. Max died because he simply trusted his story. He jumped out. So he was a bad man. He was a cunning secret agent. So he died his poor death. Ossible, basically Ossible saved the life of Fowler, who just came as a guest to him. So that's how the story proceeds. So basically, if you see, the story is an insight. It's a very insightful story. It's an insight into the life of a spy or a secret agent who is not glamorous, or he's not at all a very tall, dark, handsome, hunk kind of a man who looks like, as I said, that Sherlock Holmes. Who looks exactly the image of a detective you get when you look at that. No, he was not at all like that. The kind of glamorous look or the gorgeous look you get in the films, but rather he was full of dangers and suspense. He can create such kind of dangerous stuffs, and he can take risk and create the suspense because he has the wit and the charm, a witty brain, but he never looked like that. So what matters most is how quick-witted you are as a spy. One should be actually a quick-witted person. Being a spy, you should immediately, plan stories and cook up stories just to rescue yourself and anybody with you. So that is what's seen in the story throughout the actions performed by Ossible. Now that is what it makes it this very interesting, right?
Yeah, let's begin the discussion of the Midnight Visitor question answers, as the chapter was really very interesting and intriguing. I hope you must be equally eager to know the question answers. So let's have a quick discussion of that.
So the first question is, how was Ossible different from other secret agents? So the answer to that can be Ossible was unlike other secret agents, fat, sloppy, and he was a plump man who had an accent, and so Fowler was expecting rather a smart and an active and a super energetic person who might have slipped those messages into his hands by some dark-eyed beauties, which is mentioned in the text. Also, whereas Ossible received only a phone call and making an appointment in his room directly. So now let's go to question number 2. What made the story of the balcony so very convincing? The answer can be Ossible showed his annoyance for the nuisance created by the balcony. Now he quickly made a story. We all know that, right? So he said that this was the second time that some intruder had got into his room through that balcony, and he also said that the balcony was not his, but it belonged to the next apartment, and earlier his room used to be a part of a large unit. Question is, how did Max go out of Ossible's room to save himself from the police? Now, Max was really nervous hearing the knock, if you remember. Police was there at the door, and he went out of the window. He basically flung his leg out. He swung his leg out, one leg out of the window, and saying that he would wait in the balcony by the time the police is gone. Okay, you can understand that he cannot trust Ossible at that point. So he just said that he's going to wait in the balcony. So he just swung his leg outside the window, and he warned Ossible to send the police away, otherwise he's going to shoot him. So all these things happened in the story. And Max stepped out of the window. He swung his leg out, but there was no balcony. We all know that, and he fell to his death. Okay, that is question number 3. Now question number 4. How and why did Max come inside Ossible's room? So Max had come into Ossible's room using a passkey, right? That's a very important part of the chapter. He uses a master key, a passkey, a kind of a master key, which I've already mentioned. So he uses a passkey. He had come to get the secret report or those documents about some new missiles, which he was sure was with Ossible, right? So now the other question is, was there a balcony outside the window? Give instances for the text in support of your answer. Now, we all know there was no balcony. That was completely a cooked up story by Ossible because he was a gem in his profession. He knew when to, make moves according to the requirement of the situation. Max dropped himself to the balcony. He screamed. There was a shrill there was a scream, and he fell down to the ground from the sixth floor. And in the end, Oswald told Fowler that he will never return ever because he died. Now there is another important question. Now, when it comes to the character sketches, like if the question comes, describe Oswald. So Oswald, you can describe it very nicely because the whole chapter is the protagonist of the story, and you can, describe really well about him. He was a fat, sloppy man. He was a secret agent who had an American accent. So we can put it this way. Oswald was a secret agent. He was fat, he was sloppy, and he was plump. And he did not have that romantic, mysterious personality. He didn't have a gorgeous personality. The kind of personalities these spies or the secret agent have. Now he could speak French and German passably and had an American personality, which he had brought to Paris from Boston 20 years before. That's very specific in the chapter which is mentioned. This would be the last question which I would like to discuss with you all, that how did Oswald kill Max without using a weapon? A very important question and a very vital question, right? So Oswald was he was extremely intelligent. When he found Max waiting in his room, the moment he switched on the light, if you remember, he made a story. He immediately cooked up a story of a particular balcony, of a non-existent balcony under his window. And very convincingly, he told Max about the balcony story. And thus, when someone knocked at the door, which again he convinced Max that it was the police, and Max, fearing about the fact that he'll be caught and imprisoned, he preferred to jump out of the window, and he died. So okay, on that note, I would like to say that take care of yourselves, tata bye bye, and I hope you all have understood the chapter. It's a very interesting chapter, and I hope you all have liked the chapter and understood the question answers also along with the chapter. So take care of yourselves till we meet for the next session. Bye bye.